Singapore, I think, is the only place where the moment there's an MRT breakdown, suddenly everyone is digging up like salaries of the SMRT CEO or the chairman, and then like what his background is at SAF and when he got airdropped in, this what interview he said this and said that. And it's like on Reddit there's like a whole collective like digging up of everything that this CEO has said before, and it's
Because
just crazy.
now they got time. They are waiting in the queue for the bridging bus. Otherwise, they will be home in 20 minutes. Now it's become 1 hour, right? So they're like, let me find out this information.
Now, some of you ask why we chose Ergotune chairs for our studio. Well, everybody has a chair. We have two. Harish sits on one. I sit on one. We are both professionals. We need to sit. If you know, you know. The cool thing is that Ergotune has just launched the Vesby, Singapore's first 100% locally designed office task chair. The Vesby has 14 dynastic points that adapt seamlessly to your unique body shape, whether you're a bigger sized person like me or svelte like Harish. Its ergonomic features include precise adjustments for the backrest like the Smart Flex Pro lumbar support with independent height and tension adjustments, a tri-tune 3D Pro adjustable headrest, seat pan, and 360-degree armrests. Ready to get yours? You can use an affiliate link with the promo code YALABUT to get $20 off the Vesby, and this is stackable with other discounts. The link and promo code will be in the description. And now, on to the podcast. And what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala.
But.
Your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news and the latest topics, always with a touch of what?
Humor.
Good old humor.
Sorry, I forgot. I'm trying to be young, man, so I messed up your intro. I apologize.
It's okay. It's your first time here. No, it's not your first time here. How many times already here? But as always, a very special episode because we have our long-time Yalabat, friend of Yalabat and frequent collaborator, right? One and only comedian / actor / MC / host / National Day Parade number one host as well. Anything else we've missed out on?
I definitely was not the number one host. If I were the number one host, I would get a callback, but that has not happened. So I'm like number 8, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, but he's somewhere up there. He's somewhere. Top 10 that you would choose when looking for the CMI, the I in the CMIO, right, of the host.
I'm definitely the number one replacement Sindhi host of the Yalabat podcast.
Yeah, that's a presence we've missed for a while. But this is the one and only Rishi Budhrani, folks.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for having me again, Terrence. Appreciate it, man. Always a real pleasure to be here.
Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned, like Harish is away, and we've missed the Sindhi presence on the show, right?
Yeah, bro. You need to have a bit of brown in this room, man. Other than the wood, you need to have a bit of brown to just make sure everything's nice and balanced.
No, but always great to have you here because your stories are crazy, right? Like, I mean, you're doing comedy, you're a comedian and all that, but the kind of places that you go and the things that you do, and even like the upcoming show that you're doing, it's something so out of left field when people think about what a comedian does, right?
Yeah. I guess I mean I try to keep it fresh. You know, I'm grateful that I get an opportunity to do this, and of late I've started to feel a bit more lucky. I know this sounds damn cliched, but I feel very blessed, lah. I mean, just to be able to travel and use my stories and my jokes as a currency to see the world. It's a dream I never knew I had. So I'm grateful to be here to be able to do what I do.
Yeah. So for those who do follow Rishi on his social media, at least I do, and I know in recent times you've been to Germany. That's one place you've been, right?
Yeah. Germany was holiday lah.
Holiday, okay.
Yeah.
South Africa.
We did some shows there. Yes.
Yeah, and anywhere else during this?
In the past year, probably. I did a bunch of shows in the US. I did a bunch of shows in Turkey. More recently, Africa. Indonesia. So it's been an exciting time, man.
You're like the ISO speed of Singapore comedians, I guess. going from place to place, right?
I'm kind of. I think I have a little less speed than I show speed. I would have lost that foot race that he did. Chinatown, is it? Chinatown.
Yeah, but you have beat him at football, right? You're now a semi-pro footballer in some ways.
Bro, earlier this year I saw the fella tackle Kaka in some
the
charity match. And I'm like, this fella, hey bro, relax a bit lah. You know, if he tried to makan me like that, I swear I would have been sent off because I would have hammered the fella, bro, if I could catch him.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of challenge is this, bro? Come on, man. We are veterans. Relax.
Correct. But he's 19 lah, right? He's still finding his footing and everything lah.
Yeah. Okay, well, side note lah. Okay, you mentioned I started playing football recently. I've been playing a lot of football over the past maybe 8 months, doing a lot of work with local football as well. Trying to just cast a bit of a spotlight on some of the programs that FAS and even MCCY are trying to come up with to encourage youth and support young athletes. One of the things I started doing was play a lot more, right? And I was doing okay. I played in a couple of veterans leagues, social football, and then my family tried to psycho me into playing in some open tournament for Sindhi football.
Oh, wow.
Open tournament with a bunch of young players in their peak. Like one 40-year-old hero going like, don't worry, I can handle this, boys. It's just a friendly game. The way these kids tried to damage me, bro. Buggers flying in from left, right, center. I mean, I'm like, and every time I would go in for a tackle, referee will blow the whistle on me.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, to me, they are clean tackles, and every time I would get tackled by these younger fellows, play on. I'm like, hey, ref, come on lah. I think it's a bit unfair.
Is it because you just much more physically imposing with the six-pack and everything?
I really don't have a six-pack anymore. I like to say that out there. Yeah, I need at least 3 weeks notice to get a six-pack.
And just starving yourself of water for
to do a water
days.
Yeah, okay. Those trade secrets. Only me, Deadpool, and Wolverine know. Okay, nobody else.
Yeah. But I've played football recently with a bunch of young people also. And sometimes I want to laugh because, they're very fit and everything. But then the moment they have to do a throw-in, it's like all them they don't know how to do a proper throw-in. Then they get, the referee calls them out for it. And I'm like, you see lah.
These
I
kids,
got experience. But
these children, I tell you.
So you can still show them a thing or two lah on the pitch.
Look, I want to say that there was some moments of questionable decisions in the tournament that I played. I came out with some bruised ribs and some injuries, but yeah, man, I don't think they took me down yet. So, kids, if you're still trying to take down Rishi Budhrani, number 3 centre back, keep trying, guys. Still got a bit of fight left in me.
Okay. I mean, you got enough fight in you to even go to. I mean, we talked about going to Africa, right?
Yeah.
And this is actually quite a dangerous period to also travel to that region as well, right?
Yep.
So I mean, more than just fight, but adventure also, like what's up with going to Africa for work, man?
Okay, in the past month, I was flown to Cape Town in South Africa to do a series of live hosting shows for an event. And while I was there, I spoke to some of the local comedy clubs, and I said, hey, I'm going to be here. I'd love to check out some shows, do some work. And my wife, Cheryl, traveled together as well. So we set up a couple of dual shows there, just to see how people might like the Rishi and Charles show in Africa. And I got to say, man, it was a very positive experience. We had a great time. The local comedy scene in South Africa, really cool, really welcoming, really diverse also, man, because they've got shows in English and they've got shows in vernacular, the local various languages. And what we don't realize sometimes, so just to understand the scale, right? The danger of, for example, Mpox. Is predominantly in Africa, in Congo, for example. Right, and that region. South Africa is a whole huge country, really far away from that. And although it's still considered as the African continent, actually there's no danger there.
So
no
basically,
cases.
I was just generalizing when I said that region.
We all were, bro. That was my concern as well.
You went with full mask and everything when you traveled.
No, before I flew, I did all my research. I checked. I'm like, hey guys, this, that, everything.
Yeah.
And literally in the meeting, I'm I'm like, hey, do you think we need to get a vaccination for monkeypox or not? And one Chinese auntie went, I got vaccination for chickenpox. So I'm like, hello, auntie, those are two different animals. What do you mean? Like, Singaporeans are damn kiasu. They'll be like, just take first lah. Animal, maybe you can block.
Wait, why do you have to check with auntie about vaccination?
Sorry, when I say auntie, I mean the travel agent.
Oh, the travel agent. I was like, what is Rishi's circle of friends that one random auntie talking about chickenpox?
The travel agent booking the tickets for us, advising us on the travel.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a valid concern for everyone. So, we all have to do our due research and due diligence to check. But in all honesty, when you go there, tourism is working fine. The city of Cape Town is a beautiful place. It has its questionable areas, in all frankness, because it's made up of multiple provinces. So, some are a bit more dangerous.
Yeah.
We were warned, like, hey, man, if you're going to this area, better be cautious. Keep your phone with you. Don't walk down the streets with your phone flashing. And I'm like, bro, I'm from the Singapore Armed Forces. Take it easy, man. I got this. I didn't do like 2.5 years of being a leaf clerk at the 3SIR HQ for nothing. Okay.
Striking fear in people.
I'm trained. I'm trained to sign your off pass. No, but and when we were traveling, you were going around in cabs or in Ubers or whatever. And I remember asking one of the drivers, I'm like, hey man, this place we are going to, is it safe?
Yeah.
And the response is like, safety starts with you. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, yeah, don't give them an opportunity. Safety starts with you, bro. You need to be vigilant about it. And that's such a gaslighting move, right? I'm asking you, am I going to get killed? I'm like, if you do, it's your fault. Yeah, man. So those are some of the cool things that happened. But in all honesty, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like, is there a very vibrant comedy scene there? Like, much more vibrant than, in Singapore?
It is active. You can do multiple shows every night. Cape Town specifically used to have a full-time comedy club, but now they don't have a full-time club. They do have multiple pop-up shows at different venues. They have some really top-rated comics that have come out of that. Maybe not specifically Cape Town, I stand corrected, but South Africa.
Okay.
One of the legends of comedy there is this guy called Barry Hilton, who's been to Singapore a few times in the past. I've had the chance to watch him, work with him when I was starting out, and he's still recognized as a comedy legend in South Africa. Of course, Trevor Noah came out of that scene. And more recently, Riyad Musa as well, who had this beautiful film called Material. This released sometime in 2012, I think. Riyad Musa is an Indian origin South African comedian who did a feature film talking about how he worked for his father's textile shop.
Oh, okay.
And but his dream was to become a comedian. There are layers of being a Muslim and negotiating that identity with going into bars and clubs where there's alcohol being served and you're telling jokes, making fun of your family. So that really resonated with me because of a personal story that I do. For example, me being the son of a tailor, doing comedy. And I mean, this is not a segue for a plug, but I do this show called Can I Make You a Suit Mate? Which essentially chronicles my father's life, being 40 years as a tailor, his journey, his struggle, and him kind of building a life in this country. And that's why, for example, when I hear of comics like that making it out of South Africa, I see that, our stories, right, that we think of here, we think Singapore is so different from the rest of the world. Actually, everyone has parallels to their story. Every immigrant story is very similar in a lot of ways, you know.
Yeah.
It's about you going to a place that's unknown, being afraid of change, and eventually setting up your roots and just trying to survive and build a life for you and your family. And the comics in South Africa are no different. You know, they're just trying to carve a path for themselves.
Yeah.
Just trying to make a name for themselves with their authentic, original stories, which was very beautiful to watch.
But did you have to, a lot of times, explain the context of where you came from and what you guys, what Singapore is and everything?
Yes and no. You know, I constantly struggle with this, I think, when I travel, right? Because when I'm in Singapore, I'm very comfortable.
Yeah.
Because Singaporeans want to hear about themselves. They want to hear, as much as we are global citizens of the world, actually, we don't care about what's happening outside of Singapore, right? I mean, we do care about what the Malaysian exchange rate is. So we can go and, you know, eat cheaper seafood and all that nonsense. But actually, beyond that, Singaporeans are really very... We love hearing about our issues, our stuff. It's just relevance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I go on the road, I have to change that mindset a little bit. I have to be that person that I am, that I talked about in my show last year, that the artificial Indian that I am. Right.
Yeah.
I am that global citizen who maybe has roots in Singapore, but you know, I travel the world. I am aware of world affairs. I like to do a lot of things about the place that I'm in. So I got a chance to spend 1 week in Cape Town, even before I did stand-up shows.
Okay.
So it was nice to kind of talk about their things, observations about their culture, observations about, you know, stories that I came across interacting with their local folk. I mean, case in point, the story I told you about me with the Uber driver telling me safety starts with me, you know. I told that joke on stage. People loved it because it's like, yeah, this is true. This is how things happen in our part of the world. So that's a part of my, challenge, struggle, the joy of doing comedy on the road is to find a way to make yourself relevant in a different part of the world and still connect with that audience.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty crazy that Singaporean comics in the middle of South Africa and, like, you know, just doing clubs and shows and stuff like that.
It's a gift, dude. It's a blessing to be just able to do this, man. And the comics were very welcoming, you know, because even they understand that, you know, it's a struggle to go to a different place and do that.
And you're talking about your upcoming show, which I think is October, and it's the second run of your solo. It's a what do you call it? A monologue or a solo show?
It's a bit of a genre that I find hard to define. You know, like some people say it's theatrical, some say it's comedy, some say it's improv. I like to call it just my one-man show.
Yeah,
and it features elements of comedy, storytelling, and improvisation. It's one of those festival genres. Like you can't really box it into one.
Yeah,
because I do get the audience involved a lot.
I see.
I do tell jokes.
Yeah,
but I don't do it as Rishi Budhrani. I do it as a character. So it's something that my audience that sees me do stand up would never have seen.
Yeah,
and it's also based on a true story, largely. I got to say it's, or rather loosely based lah. Because every time I say largely based, my father asks me for royalties. So I got to be damn clear that this is loosely based on my father's life.
You got to keep it separate lah.
Yeah. Otherwise he'll be like, hey, you just copy my story wholesale. What is this, man? Huh? How come I don't get a cut?
And is there a chance of bringing this story out of Singapore as well?
That is the plan. The long-term plan is to hopefully tour it as a festival show with tweaks.
Yeah.
The show has a significant element of improvisation. So I think that part of it kind of depends on which country I'm in. So right now, it's only been performed in Singapore.
Yeah.
So my improvised segments are with that crowd there. With those, you know, whether it's Singaporeans or whether foreigners living here, expats living here, essentially the physicality of the show is still very Singapore. I look forward to hopefully taking it to Australia, to Edinburgh, and just kind of seeing how the response would be there.
Sure.
I'm hoping it'll be positive. I'm confident the story is something that people around the world can resonate with. And it's yet to be seen how far it can go. But 2025 is the year that we are kind of setting things in place to hopefully take it out of the country.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But so for people who know you primarily for your stand-up, they always thought of you, oh, Rishi Budhrani, an hour-long stand-up special and everything. What do you think is the reason that they should actually try out and come to this solo show that you're doing?
I think the watching a live stand-up comedy show is very raw. It's almost very bricks and bones. It's very stripped down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And people come to see it, I believe, because of that. Because it's like, oh, this is just this dude or this person on stage, armed with nothing but his jokes and a microphone, and let's see what he does with that. This is, I would say, on the other end of the spectrum, where you have a character, where you have a little bit of a set, where you have some visual elements that you wouldn't see in a stand-up comedy show. This is a little theatrical.
Yeah.
So it is almost, if you imagine, if you liked watching a stand-up show because you like my writing or you like my humor, I would say this is something which has all of that, but now it's kind of accentuated with other theatrical elements. And it's almost a different genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm seeing the attraction. It's like you get that same Rishi, but with additional layers of like theatrical production on top of it as well.
And I play a character. So I don't even... So that's also a struggle, right? Because, for example, when I've written the show in the voice of my father, with extensive interviews with my family, with like digging up like stories and images and going through old albums, calling up family members in India, interviewing people, and once people saw this show last year or heard I was doing this show last year, random old people would stop me in the street going like, "Hey, I heard you are doing this show. Let me tell you one story about your grandmother. Last time she came here," I'm like, "What? I never knew this."
So they actually knew your grandparents and...
Well, my grandma was someone who was fairly one of the first few Sindhi settlers in the country at the time.
Got it.
So she was, I guess, for this generation, someone fairly influential, respected, in the sense that people would come to her for advice. She was one of the early pioneers of Indian matchmaking in the region. Because for real, you would, because the elders were the ones, right? And she was an elderly Indian lady at the time. They would go to the community house, the Sindhu house.
Sindhu house.
And she would know, like, okay, there's one Sindhi girl from India now visiting her auntie in Fair Drive. Okay, she's about 20 years old. Yeah, she's completed her this studies and everything. She's a very nice demure girl and everything. And that woman have turned out to be my mother, bro. She chose that girl for my father.
Oh, she's like the oracle of matchmaking, Sindhi matchmaking.
She's one of the... Yeah, man. She's not too pleased that I'm with a Punjabi girl now. Like.
But okay, I mean, at the same time, she trailblazed and you're trailblazing.
Yeah. She was a real inspiration in my life. I was very fortunate to be able to spend time with her and get to know her and speak the language that she spoke. Sindhi is almost a forgotten language. I mean, a very rarely spoken language from our generation. And a lot of we had a lot of ideological discussions about tradition, about life, about human beings, about religion, even. And to be fair, it was very an interesting time and a very fulfilling time that I got to spend with her. Even to the extent of, for example, my wife, Cheryl, right? She got a chance to interact with my grandmother. And I think a large part of us being able to have any kind of positive relationship was because she was someone who, like you say, was a trailblazer and she understood the importance of change. She understood that, hey, the world is changing, times are changing. And if we want to survive and adapt in this world, we need to be aware of what changes we are okay with. And she was very gracious and very welcoming, and I'm always grateful for that.
Nice. So, I think the show, what you're also saying is that the show is not just for people who are fans of your stand-up as well, right? There's a whole element of understanding, your own family history and coming to terms with different aspects of family history in the almost like a self-actualization kind of way, right?
Yeah, it's about finding a place through some humor, some jokes. And what's interesting is the people who watched the first round of the show in 2022 have now bought tickets for themselves and their parents. Their
nice.
in-laws. And I got messages like, bro, I watched a show. I'm bringing my in-laws and my parents.
Wow.
We're taking it to a family night. I'm like, cool. So this is one of those shows you can bring your families. Is what I'm saying.
Safe for families.
Safe for families. Yeah. In fact, we had like some young people as well who would come because, parents would be like, it's also a bit about, I mean, without giving away too much, it is a little bit about relationships between father and son, relationships between family.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of notes from like young dads or what, in their maybe 40s, 50s going, I brought my son to the show, and it was a real eye-opener because your character said things that I have not been able to say to my son. And I'm like, wow, that's cool, man. Even I didn't know that.
So it's a catharsis in a way.
It is. I mean, I enjoy performance work, I enjoy acting, and I enjoy the opportunity to be able to combine the worlds of stand-up and acting and writing and improv in this very important show. And well received. I mean, the first run had a very rare but damn good review from the Straits Times.
Yeah. I remember that.
And we sold out the first run at the Esplanade. So I'm excited about it. I've done a lot of stand-up this year, but for the next 1 month, all we're doing is rehearsing the show and focusing on putting on a nice, strong show.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
But that's why we're lucky to have you here today.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
To help fill in for Harish as the guest host, but also to talk about something that I think, like what you mentioned, Singaporeans, we love to look inwards and complain about things, right? And now there's something that everyone is complaining about that I think probably you'd have a lot of interesting thoughts about it as well.
Let's talk.
Because, in the past 48 hours, since Wednesday, September 25th, train disruption has rocked Singapore since the morning of September 25th, Wednesday, where it first started with a train fault for an eastbound train on the East-West line, somewhere near Clementi Station. So the passengers had to get off at Clementi Station. This was about 9 a.m. on Wednesday. And then that train, while empty, was supposed to be withdrawn from service and returned to the Ulu Pandan depot. But along the way, about half an hour later, the train started emitting smoke, and something happened, and it resulted in a power trip, which caused another train near Clementi Station to stall. And then the passengers on that other train had to get off, and they were detrained and to walk along the tracks. So it's like the elevated train tracks. They had to walk along it and get back to the station. About another half hour later, SMRT, announced to the public that there was a disruption and no train services between Boon Lay and Queenstown stations because of a traction power fault. And then, they started allocating bus services between Boon Lay and Queenstown. I think it just got worse from there, right? Where basically they realized the extent of the damage that had been caused by that faulty train being pulled back to the depot. And they said, train services will be disrupted for the rest of the day. And then more details came that the damaged train was being withdrawn, but, there were parts of the train that dropped off the train, fell onto the running rails and caused damage to the tracks. And I think they said that there were over 30 segments that were damaged over a 1.6 kilometer railway segment. So since then, it's just been, they announced that there was a second day. They would not be able to resume services on Thursday. And there was a lot of question marks about, is it about maintenance or maintenance or under maintenance of our train services? Because this is not an isolated incident. The last month, there have been two other incidences on the Circle Line as well, breakdowns, but not to this extent.
Yep.
And as far as the Transport Minister Shiok Thing had to fly back from a work event in China to actually visit the ground and give his statement. And the SMLT CEO had to apologize for this because a lot of people were also making noise that, PSLE exams are starting literally on Thursday and, I can't get my kid to school on time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of people have been getting upset. And right now, the latest update is that the disruption is still ongoing. Today is Friday, September 27th. The disruption is still ongoing.
Yep.
They are aiming to restore full service by 30th September, which is next Monday.
Yeah.
Which is, really, really long. And there's this whole segment of the West that seems to be cut off from the rest of Singapore already.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Man.
So, I mean, it's still an ongoing thing. But, I mean, for you, like, when you first heard of this news, like, what was running through your mind? Was it like, oh no, not again? Or
maybe this is a function of kind of getting to see how things are around the world, right? I've sometimes the first thing I thought is, poor thing. There's going to be a bunch of folks who are going to be working non-stop for a few nights, overnight.
Yeah,
just trying to make sure.
Talking about the engineers, like
the engineers, the maintenance staff, and all that. And people are going to be looking at them with really bad juju, and it is going to be like, see y'all, these fellas. That's your boys. I mean, okay, make no mistake about it. There's a large population that is going to be inconvenienced or has been inconvenienced.
Yeah,
and it's justified that they feel frustrated, annoyed, and just super irritated about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I get it. But I think at the end of the day, it's just an inconvenience. Right. Which I dare say around the world, this is a super normal a normal Tuesday in New York City.
Yeah.
Where, oh man, the L train is not working. We got to go to the queue and change this. Normal. In Germany, supposedly best trains. Oh no, there's a train delay and this is going to be missed and we're going to do this and everything. Now I have to take a bus here and everything to do that. Normal weekend. But I think because, and maybe this sometimes works at our disadvantage, we publicly and globally pride ourselves. One of the best transport systems in the world. We promote ourselves as, hey, look at our system. It's really one, and truly, it probably is one of the best in the world. But I think sometimes that self-promotion really hits hard and slaps us in the faces when things like this happen. Yeah, correct. And it doesn't help that this week in Singapore has been so eventful. I mean, I think last week there was the fare hikes kicked in, if I'm not wrong, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
They announced that fare hikes would start in December.
So the announcement of fare hikes, right? Formula One. Former Transport Minister pleads guilty. And then boom, all the trains.
I show speed also.
Show speed, running around taking photo with Shang-Chi. Like challenging people at like foot race in Chinatown. And then suddenly the trains all go down. And then 5 students are late for PSLE. You know what I mean?
The shit hit the fan all at the same time.
And meanwhile, people are falling into sinkholes across the border. And sinkholes are popping all over the place. I'm like, hey, we are okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's an inconvenience,
I mean, touch wood, at least so far. I mean, I know there are some safety hazards, but I think I choose to look at it as these maintenance or these kind of overnight works and this thing, the delays, right? Let's just assume that they are being done, these steps are being taken so that the inconvenience doesn't turn into a safety hazard. Because it very well could be. Right, the things you described, like this popped here, this dropped there, this burst there, for example, or there was some kind of smoke coming out, all that. It very well could have turned into a safety issue, a bigger safety issue. Right now, I think if it's an inconvenience, we have to take buses around here and there, we have to do this and that. Okay lah, let's let's give the benefit of the doubt. If your train station is running properly 99% of the time.
Yeah. A few days, okay lah. Right?
So let's be a bit gracious and compassionate towards the people working behind the scenes.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite interesting what you said about New York City subway and all, because having stayed there for a while, and like when the line shuts down, it just shuts down.
Yeah.
There's no expectation of it coming back up like tomorrow, 2 days later or what. It's just like, okay, something's happening. You just move on with it.
Make your own alternate travel arrangements.
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna give you bridging buses.
Yeah. and then my experience when I studied abroad in France also was like, tomorrow got train workers strike. Okay, then you just got to find your way to school. If you need to walk to school,
figure it out, bro.
Yeah. And everyone kind of it stops there. It's like, okay, services are down. Let's find a way around it, move on with life.
Yeah.
Singapore, I think, is the only place where the moment there's an MRT breakdown, suddenly everyone is digging up salaries of the SMRT CEO or the chairman, and then what his background is at SAF and when he got airdropped in, this what interview he said this and said that. And it's on Reddit, there's a whole collective digging up of everything that this CEO has said before, and it's
because
just crazy.
Now they got time. They are waiting in the queue for the bridging bus. Otherwise, they will be home in 20 minutes. Now it's become 1 hour, right? So they're like, let me find out this information.
Yeah. But I mean, could you say that because Singapore is quite successful or rich in that way, and we pay our public servants and all that also pretty good salaries. I'm sure we can dig up the number, but I'm sure the SMRT CEO and chairman and all, they are pretty well compensated. Do you think it's a valid argument? Because some people are saying that, in Singapore there's no accountability. They should be stepping down straight away when this kind of thing happened and all that.
Wow. I don't know, man. I think I have had this opinion for a while, and I continue to have it. Nothing has changed this opinion of mine that public service is a really thankless job. When things are going well, right, nobody will write you a thank you note.
Yeah.
But the moment something goes wrong, it's like, what the fish is going on here?
Yeah.
What do you mean you take so much money, then my train, I cannot reach home in time to teach my children PSLE. Hello, you take 1 million a year for what? I think it just got released also. Lawrence Wong's salary is the highest. He's the highest paid leader
in the world.
Right?
Yeah.
1.69 million or something.
Yeah. On paper, everything we know, right?
Yeah. And I think it's just very untimely, all this. Is there no accountability? Oh man, I don't think so, because I had this discussion with some friends recently.
Yeah.
That, hey, our ministers get paid a lot. And the response is, yeah, they do. Because, for that profile and that caliber and that education and that everything, their CVs, very likely, if they were to go out into the private sector, they would be making more than what they're making as a minister or a leader right now. And that got me thinking, okay, again, it probably requires a bit more concrete examples to display that. But that seems to be the consensus, right? You are paid an X amount because you want to attract, or you pay an X amount salary because you want to attract the best of the best. And according to all the machine of the government and the authorities, these are the best of the best lah. And that's why they're paid that amount lah.
Yeah.
And it's not like the mistakes don't happen in the private sector also, just that they are privately handled.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I struggle to understand whether or not there's no accountability. But I think these apologies, for example, when Shiok Thing comes on to make a public apology for what has happened, I think that is something that is a culture that is cultivated by what I said earlier, for example. Because when good things happen, we blow the trumpet.
Yeah.
Best transport, wow, super transport system in the world, best. We received this award and that thing and this engineering and that one. So when mistakes happen, okay, you got to equally bow your head and go, sorry. Sorry, this happened.
Yeah. And I think it's important that he took a flight back straight away from wherever he was in China, Beijing.
Yep.
And, appeared on site in the middle of the night, wearing a white helmet and a vest and just wayanging a bit.
It's great for optics. Don't know what he contributed to doing that.
Stress everyone out even more.
They're like, "Alamak, boss come already, boss come." And not just boss, the
the
boss, bro.
Exactly.
The MOT, like, wow,
Yeah.
he came already.
But he's also had a pretty rough few months as the Minister of Transport.
Yeah lah, bro. He cannot simply go.
ERP, and then when they took away a couple of bus services and they had to reinstate it and all that as well. So he's had a pretty rough road as the Minister of Transport.
Yeah, it's been challenging. I won't lie.
But I mean, what you said earlier about the fact that some of these public servants, they can be for their skill set and all, they can be earning a lot more elsewhere. I mean, people do point out that, for example, SMRT CEO, for three CEOs in a row, they've been ex-military people. And are military people necessarily, the best people to lead the engineering, an organization that runs a lot on engineering and logistics and these kind of things. So that pay aside, it's about the experience and, the profile of the person, right?
Yeah, man. I don't know what you feel about it. You spend time in the military as well? Or were you in...
Like you, I'm one of the badasses. Like, I spent 2.5 years in the army and everything.
Okay. Question. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel that spending time in an organization like the SAF, in whatever role you may be, because I was an officer cadet for a while until I got injured.
Yeah.
And then I got sent to a transport unit for a while. And then after that, I got sent to the manpower side eventually. So I spent time in the field, basic military training. Then I spent time in the field with the officer cadets a little bit. And then I spent time in the transport side a little bit. Worked in the store a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And then eventually I worked in the administrative side in the HQ.
Yep.
And one of the biggest benefits of spending this time, right, is that you are forced to learn how to get shit done at whatever level you are. And you're forced to learn how to get shit done, not necessarily with the resources that you need.
Okay.
And I think that is a big skill set in running things at whatever level, whether you are running SMRT or whether you are running, MCCY maybe. And I think that just basically the way shit's run in things are run in bureaucracies, things are run in authorities, things are run in governments all around the world.
Yeah.
Having some kind of experience in getting shit done without necessarily all the resources is a very useful skill set, which the Singapore Armed Forces equips you with. We've all been in situations where, hey, we need this by this time.
Yeah.
So, but we have no pens. Indiana, go and ask what do we have no pen? Hello, what's this? Your first day of reservist, you go, nothing is there.
Nothing's there,
and then you have to suddenly charge people for what? I'm like, but we got no card, no, the login haven't come. Go find out lah. What do you mean by no card? Hello, need to charge this fella, faster go. And then you go and figure shit out lah.
Yeah.
Because that's what you gotta do. And I think these guys who've been like, colonels or brigadier generals or what, they've just spent so much time just project managing and crisis managing and problem solving at some of the most difficult levels that when it comes to there, like, okay, what do we do? And I've been in these kind of bureaucratic meetings before where the verbiage is very, okay, so what is the solution that we have for the problem here? Anyone got any solution? Okay, never mind. We don't talk about that now. We don't play the blame game now, Later we decide what's to do. But first, who got solution? Okay. Hong Tat, you are going to go there. And Hong Tat probably has been in a situation many years of his life where he's had to go and fix some shit somewhere.
Yeah.
And now he's like, okay, never mind. I've been in this situation. I know what to do. And it may not be like, engineering specific or what, but maybe it's just problem solving specific.
But maybe it's because you are an exceptional soldier. And you actually give a shit to get the job done. Like, because I have had the opposite side of experience also, where like there are people who just don't give a shit. Like you ask them to do something and they stay on it for a whole week, or at least till the end of reservist already. And then when someone turns to you and asks you, hey, has it been solved? And you're like, nothing has moved at all, So and I mean that, because like you said, you almost went, you were in officer cadet school for a while, so obviously there was some some measure of like, your competency and everything.
Or
And-
some cock up in the SAF system that sent me there.
No, but I mean, years later, you are literally running around National Stadium, hosting NDP, being part of this, which is pretty much the grandest thing that we pull off every year, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen it at its highest levels, right? But me, maybe I'm one of the bottom feeders, like in infantry and everything. So I've seen also the lowest levels of it. And that's where I do think, yes, being some big organization like SAF confers you some kind of an experience with logistics, yes. Security, yes, I think so, right?
Yep.
Security is a big thing. I think
Yep.
like you need ex-military people to, be in charge of security and all. That's important, right?
Yeah. Leading a group of people, I think that's like, showing some kind of, compassion to your men, your whether it's your sergeants or your riflemen or whatever, just to be able to show some kind of welfare and compassion and be able to motivate people. And not everybody is good at it. We've all seen some shitty officers in our life, but I've seen some really good ones.
Correct, yeah. And I think, to me, being able to move people from one place to another, a big group of people, that also is a very big part of being in the army and all that, right?
Yeah.
But then I do think, because I've had this thought experiment also, but at the same time, one thing about the SAF is that a lot of the people there, they're forced to be there.
Yeah.
They don't want to be, don't have a choice to be there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you talk about any private organization, when you talk about motivating people, there's a different level. People, our adults, they can choose not to be there. And if you can't just say, figure a way out, you'll just throw a letter the next day and you can't solve anything. So that's where I can see that I do feel that sometimes, even people with very experience with a lot of bureaucracies might actually not necessarily be the best people to lead big private organizations. Also.
Agreed.
Right. But I mean, and let's say engineering also is something I don't know anything about, the train engineering, and I believe it's understanding how intricate some of these systems are, and managing old and new systems and how much maintenance they need and balancing that with budget.
Yep.
All that might be quite sector specific knowledge that you might not have from being a general and all that.
Agreed. Yeah. There's definitely some there's probably some balance that's required
Yeah.
And I don't know enough to 100% agree. But I think the things that I was sharing was more to kind of say that I think that's what they are thinking. When they get someone who has been able to do this, they're like, okay, this person has proven XYZ. I mean, that's why. I mean, PM Lee was
Brigadier General,
BG, right? Yeah. And I think that's why he went all the way there. Brigadier General of the. Hey, there's no joke.
It's big, yeah.
It's a huge,
very high rank,
damn thing, man.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, he was also Lee Kuan Yew's son. So I mean, whatever it is, the optics of it, you just got to. That one's for them to figure out. But people did say, because like what you mentioned, there's also an announcement of train fare, the train prices,
hikes,
the train fare hikes are going up in December. People are saying that they should not be hiking the fares, or they should at least be cutting back as a sort of a, not say punishment, but to make it up for the people who, the almost 500,000 commuters who have been disrupted by this.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's a fair thing to ask for?
I don't know, man. I feel like, again, I'll say, comparatively around the world, I think our public transport fares are actually quite low for the similar kind of quality and the service, if we compare. That's my understanding. I stand corrected because I don't have all the facts in front of me, but my opinion is that actually our public transport is significantly cheaper than a lot of places in the world. For example, they say that the Singapore and Switzerland. Singapore is the most expensive city in Asia, for example, right?
Yeah.
Switzerland, most expensive in Europe. When I was there, I paid for a 4-minute taxi ride. 4 minutes.
Yeah. From
the train station to my hotel, because we had luggage and our luggage broke or whatever. 2 suitcases.
Yeah.
2 people. 4 minutes. 44 Swiss francs.
Whoa. That's I mean, pretty much like $44, like Sing dollars.
$44. Wait, I took this down because I had some PTSD from it. I stand corrected. Whether it's 44 Sing dollars or 44 francs.
Yeah.
But it was 4 minutes of this 44 Sing dollars. Sorry, for a 4-minute taxi ride.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was maybe like 30 something francs or something. And I remember thinking in that moment, that would never happen in Singapore. Even if you take like a XL Uber from XL van from Changi Airport.
Yeah.
For 4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You will never pay $50, $40 or whatever. Of course, that's comparing to the most expensive in Europe, but I'm still saying that comparatively, our trains, our buses actually are, I would argue, fairly affordable. So, I think a little bit of hike, at some point, it will happen. We can't expect it to be the same throughout our existence. So, I think it's just a matter of time when it happens.
Yeah.
Because you see, if they don't hike the thing, if they go and... Imagine the scenario, Terence. They say, oh, okay, actually, you know what? We are going to cancel the fare hike. Or we're going to reduce transport fares.
Yeah.
You will have one group of conspiracy theorists going, election coming lah, that's why they're going to reduce now, then after election, then they confirm increase again.
Yeah.
So, how to win? It's almost, I feel like, I mean, it is what it is, right? You're not going to... I don't think complaining in public is going to suddenly change the decision of fares. There are some decisions that may be affected.
Yeah.
I do agree. For example, the whole Simply Go and bank card thing, I think a large part of the decision being reversed or kind of adjusted a little bit was due to public outcry.
Yep.
That was a successful case of Singaporeans complaining their way into policy change.
Yeah.
But it's not very common. And I don't think when it comes to fare hikes, a public outcry is going to change the decision. That is my opinion.
And to be fair also, like you can find videos on YouTube of what the Singapore MRT was like 30 years ago. It was literally like just one line from left to right, And then you look at the map now and how much more extensive it is and how much more... I mean, it serves a much larger footprint across Singapore. So it can't... I mean, even with higher ridership and everything, also means that there's more stuff to maintain, more stations, more trains and everything.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of work that's been done in that area... I think maybe we are, in my opinion, as Singaporeans who are paying for services or kind of any kind of products in Singapore, we are well within our rights to request for some kind of cooling measures in terms of property, because that is significant differences in it.
Yeah.
Maybe even if you talk of vehicle ownership. That is quite crazy in Singapore. But I think our food prices in hawker centres, our public transport prices are actually really reasonable. I don't think it's something that we can in good faith complain about.
Yeah.
But again, everyone comes from different starting points. So, maybe I'm speaking from a position of a different existence.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, if you compare us to the rest of, countries of this level, then I think we are actually okay in those areas. But maybe the other areas I mentioned, like housing and vehicle ownership and all that, those things, maybe we can go like, hey, come on lah, give us a break. But I think we've done okay in terms of trying to keep our hawker food prices. In fact, I think our hawker food prices are too cheap to sustain in the long term.
Yeah.
People are going to leave the industry. You're not going to have your favorite Hokkien mee.
Yeah.
Because it's just too cheap now.
Yeah. Also, I do definitely see, there's the same for hawker prices where prices are too low, and I believe it's not even just an institutional thing, but just in our own mindsets where we can pay $15 for ramen, $24 for pasta, but we won't pay like more than $5 for a bowl of wanton mee or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel that is completely like Singaporean own self kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where we don't respect our own hawker culture.
Yeah, because you I mean, we all have been in that position where you go and pay like, like 50, 60 bucks for like a fine dining meal. But after that, you must eat prata for supper prata
Yeah.
for like $2
Yeah.
for one egg. Because that's just who you are, and you just feel full like that, and the food has some kind of connection with you in a certain way. And yeah, it's a shame, I think, that we are not like doing more to protect our local hawkers lah. And I think the same way, to me, public transport in terms of our buses and trains falls in the same category. Actually, is okay.
Yeah.
I think it's very fair lah.
Well, it's quite interesting. So you do see it like as something that we can and should be proud of, and even by global standards, we are already like quite up there. And if we need to, sort of bite the bullet to keep up the standards as well, that's something that we can. There's still room for us to be more generous for it, lah.
That is my opinion, lah. When it
Okay.
comes to I have. I mean, I do. Full disclosure is that I do own a car, and I do drive a lot, but I also spend a lot of time, more recently, especially after COVID, in trains and buses. And I think we are really quite okay lah. And sometimes I find myself being in trains and buses so I can see, because you see a lot of like triggering fights and all on TikTok, right? Sometimes I wish like I was there. Just to calm shit down. I'm like, hey guys, relax, no need to fight, why you arguing, don't,
Yeah.
No, but I think our public transport system is actually of very high standard.
I do think one thing that is in the communication so far, right? I'm just surprised that they haven't just, essentially just said let's just shut down the train for 2 weeks, or at least that stretch for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we are just really gonna, get to the bottom and fix everything, make sure everything is safe.
Yeah. Because
I feel like at least with that kind of communication where people know, okay, next 2 weeks, this is going to be a situation.
Do you think they'll be better?
Like similar, like what I was saying about New York or in living in France and all that. Is once you kind of like, okay, that this thing definitely is going to be shut down for this definite amount of time, then you can more easily make plans around it lah.
Yeah.
Whereas what I've been hearing so far is that like every 6 hours they will give you an update about whether they can use it, one more day or something. I think people get more irritated with that than like if you just said let's just shut it down for a while lah.
Okay.
Harder to plan lah. Yeah.
So let's say you shut it down for a while, and then if we are up earlier, then we say, hey guys, bonus.
Earlier. Yeah, great. Yeah.
We managed to do it in 5 days instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe we can write into the SMRT
and ask them to read our email now.
SMRT Corpcoms, if you are listening, these are suggestions from the Yalabat podcast.
Yeah.
Featuring Terence and guest host
Rishi
Budhrani. I say guest host because if any problem, then you can go look for the other main host.
Yeah.
Maybe you never know. Maybe that works better.
But maybe it's just managing Singaporeans' expectations. Because like what you said, we tend to look a lot inwards in our problems and talk about them nonstop. But actually, in the larger scheme, it's much smaller problems or inconveniences even compared to what people go through overseas, right?
Yeah, I do feel that. I do feel like we sometimes just need to stop, breathe, and reflect.
But to give a shout out to the MRT staff who are working around the clock to make things work.
Yeah, man.
But even the commuters who have been quite orderly in queuing up, and the queues are long. But even when I go past the train station, like at Buona Vista, I remember on Wednesday, I just saw they were queuing all the way to the bus stop outside, but they were still in queue.
Yeah,
they were staying there. They weren't like trying to. There was no mad rush or anything. So I was like, oh, not bad, Singaporeans.
Yeah. That's actually, I mean, got to give it to them, lah. This is our Olympic sport. I think actually this is a shout out to Guinness Book of Records. If you want to come and maybe check out longest queues, please come to Singapore and check it out. It might be fun. But you're right. I mean, I think everyone's been patient, and I think generally people have been quite generous and compassionate. I see some stuff I read some articles about how people are going to. Someone went to give some drinks and some snacks to the SMRT staff who are working. And also, I feel for the entire team that's working really hard to keep shit going.
Sure.
Because they are just, I mean, they obviously, they are not the decision makers.
Yeah.
They are just the ones executing the orders.
Correct. Yeah.
So your boss say, hey, we need to have it up in one night. Sorry, nobody go home today.
Yeah.
Do lah.
Yeah. But you know, but also speaking of executing orders, right?
Yes.
I mean, you've been quite naughty. You have defied the orders of someone from the Singapore Police Force recent times, and that has even made the news, right? And I just love it when, like, you know, we had you scheduled on to come on as a guest, and then, like, the day before, literally. Was it day off or day before?
I mean, I received someone sent me this article this morning.
This morning.
Yeah.
You are in the news itself, right? And what was the main thing you were in the news for?
Bro, I literally got a scam phone call from Michael John from Michael John from the Singapore Police Force. I was just literally on doing some cardio.
Yeah.
Wearing a sauna suit.
I was going to ask you, like, were you in the middle of a haircut or what?
Yeah. That's what a lot of people thought. No, I wear. So thanks to my gym trainer, I bought like this thing called a sauna suit, which essentially increases your core body temperature. So you kind of release more water weight.
And you wear this in the gym?
I wear it in the gym. Yeah.
But then you look like you're an astronaut or something while working.
I look like a pure jackass. You're right. I've come to accept that about my existence, man. Like, bro, when you work as a stand-up comedian for like 12, 13 years, you know, rejection and people staring at you, all that, that becomes part of your DNA and your psyche. That doesn't bother me anymore. I know people are staring. I look like a real idiot. But it doesn't matter. I guess the job done, you know.
Okay.
So I'm doing that and I get a phone call from a +92 number. And I'm like, +92? Sheesh kebabs. This is like India or Pakistan? I'm like, India is 91. I'm like, wait, this sounds like Pakistan. I pick up the phone and it's a dude with an Indian accent.
Yeah.
I gotta try to do the accent, okay? Hello, hi sir. Hello, yeah. I'm Michael John from Singapore Police. You know Singapore Police? I'm like, yes, sir, Michael. And instantly I knew what this was about, right? And I played along. He's like, yes, sir, I'm Michael John from Singapore Police. You know, there's many scam going on, many bank scam, illegal scam. You know, scam? I'm like, yes, Michael, I'm aware. Yes, in scam in Singapore bank account. Do you have Singapore bank account? I'm like, yes, sir, I have Singapore bank account. Okay. Can you come in the video call now? Come video call. And I'm like, yes, this is happening. Okay, sir. Yes. I will come now. So,
and all this time
I'm walking on the treadmill.
On the treadmill. Okay.
I'm doing an inclined walk on the treadmill.
Okay.
And I go on and I get on video call and I'm trying to turn on my screen record to record this conversation because I know it's going to be gold.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As I'm fiddling with it, I get a screenshot first. And then I'm trying to talk to him. And he's like, he starts pointing to his name tag. So I say, I'm Michael John. And then he flashes some fake ID. Yes. This is CID, Singapore Police. Suddenly he added CID there, right?
And I see the photo.
And there's a banner behind. Yeah, so I managed to take a screenshot only, right?
Yeah.
And behind there's some shady banner which was folded for many days. And then they unfolded it. You can see the creases.
Yeah. And he's wearing like a blue top with like a lapel and everything.
Very shady.
And Michael John on his...
And he's wearing a mask. So this dude had an Indian accent, right? His name was a white name, Michael John.
Yeah.
He's wearing a mask. And the display pic was a Chinese fella in a Singapore police uniform. Oh, man. It was just the wildest thing, you know. And I'm trying to have the conversation with him. And then eventually I said, you know, let me send you a link of my account. And then I sent him a link to my upcoming show. And he's like, what is this? I said, it's my show, sir. You come for my live comedy show. And by the time I was trying to, you know, turn on my screen record, he figured it out already.
I see.
And then he hung up very quickly. So this was, I got very angry for a while and then I got very happy after a while and then I laughed to myself and I'm like, this guy needs to do a better job if you are to scam people.
Why were you angry though?
I was angry because I think I've had such phone calls before where I've reacted aggressively.
Really?
Yeah.
Like scold them.
Scold them.
Oh, really? Why?
Once I know, I paraphrase a little bit but I've heard before they're like, oh yeah, hi, I'm calling from this bank, and I've been in bad moods and on a bad day, and I was like, your mother, your father, you ask your father, and I've had arguments with these guys on the phone before. They'll scold me back.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. They'll be like, fuck you lah, F you lah, F you. I'm like, F you lah, why you trying to scam people lah? You got problem, is it? I call the police. Hey, why you keep calling me? Because I call them back to scold them.
Because the number is there.
Yeah, the number is there. So, and that became, I remember those moments, and I remember feeling after that, like, why am I wasting my energy on this? Let's turn it into something positive.
Something positive.
Let's turn it into a nice, hopefully funny moment that is able to translate into not just humor, but some form of education for the public. So this was the outcome that I managed to get a photo, educate the public. I told people, send it to their parents, because the elderly are the most vulnerable in these kind of scams. Because, they hear, they get panicked. And they don't know what's going on. And we hear of these cases so much all over the world. So I said, okay, let's use it as a form of education. And then turns out that my show was coming up. So I just included my show. Because that's what I was thinking about at the time. I was, while walking, I was, my creative juices were flowing. And I was trying to think of, some lines from the show and the promos and all that. And this happened. I'm like, okay, Michael John is going to help me promote the show.
No, I thought you got angry because, these guys are targeting, more gullible, probably older folks as well.
Yeah.
Because I've been on receiving end of some of these calls, and then early on I realized, wow, they're so aggressive, they're like almost like trying to shout you down and like telling you your bank account's going to be frozen and everything and things like that. And so it's quite scary if you're like old person and you don't really understand what they're doing, right?
That is a part of it. So the previous calls I've had were like that. So this one was a little different.
Yeah.
So maybe I also thought of approaching it differently. But yeah, I have been angered by these things before.
Wow.
And full disclosure is that it's so convincing sometimes. I remember receiving a text in the middle of the night once, like 2 a.m. or something. And I had to call the bank to verify.
Oh, really? Wow.
Because it was so real.
Oh, really?
That, okay, your account is blah, 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 DBS, this is.
Yeah.
And I had to call the bank and go like, yo, is this? They're like, nope, this did not come from us.
I see.
Yeah, so I think sometimes, there's a sense that if I, as a functioning, fairly aware, social media savvy, tech savvy person can doubt myself.
Yeah.
Wow, then our parents don't stand a chance, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I think the education is important as much as we can and to find a way to at least make our more vulnerable population aware of it. So there's nothing. If you're listening now, nobody will urgently ask you to give you their details.
Yeah. Their uniform will look better than the one that Michael John is wearing.
Yeah. The best comment is that someone put on the thread that his name looks like it was written in liquid paper.
Yeah. There's no you usually have to sew it on.
Yeah, this guy just used liquid paper.
But you have to give him this is if you blur things out a bit, it still looks like the silhouette of a police uniform or so.
Yeah. Someone put there A for effort. I say at best a B minus, bro. not A. This is really quite shoddy work.
Yeah. But getting quite sophisticated. The fact that they will have props and everything.
It's like role play, bro. It's like they are doing Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
It's like a sketch.
It's like the love scams also, where they meet you, then they ask you to take off your clothes, and it's a girl usually on the opposite side, ask you to take off your clothes and jerk off in front of them. This is like the slightly cleaner equivalent, right? They're also role playing.
Oh man, I don't know about the former, bro. Thankfully, I've not been in that situation.
I guess it says something about Singaporeans that we are like the targets of all these scam syndicates, where they know we have aging population, they know that we have a slightly higher income amongst the population as well. Just going for that money.
I once read that some of these guys, or these scammers, are actually prisoners.
They're like forced to do it, right?
Yeah, they were maybe promised another job, and then they lock you down in some room, and they're like, "This is the job.
Yeah,
you do this, or you get killed, or you don't get to leave, or you don't get food, or whatever. This is your job. You got to do this." So, I don't for a moment want to sympathize or empathize with scammers, but that's the nature of the world, sometimes. Everyone has their reasons to do it, right? And if we are not privy to it, you just like hate on them, and you just kind of go like F you and this and but maybe they've got their own circumstances they're dealing with as well.
So do you recommend that to shout at them or scold them, or like how you used to do? Or do you recommend a bit more of an empathetic thing where it's kind of funny, like how you talk to them?
Look, I think how I this latest approach that I took, which is after a few times where I scold and hang up and call back and get angry and all that. In my world, this is something that I think is fun and fair and all that. Nobody gets hurt. People learn a little bit, everyone has a good laugh.
And you get to promote your show.
And I get to promote my show also, there's a nice opportunity there, right? But not everybody has that kind of time to do that. Sometimes you're in the middle of a busy day, bad day, meeting, traveling or whatever. You get this call. You want to scold, you scold bro. I'm not going to stop you okay? Go bombs away and scold them and all that. Just whatever you do, don't give them your details. And warn your elders also. Don't give them any kind of information, whatever it is.
I've heard though that whenever these scam calls come in, best is to not even pick them up, because the moment you pick them up, apparently it's registered in the system that you are a bit more gullible to picking up scam calls also. So over time, I used to do the whole pick up and scold thing also, but after a while I was like, you know what, if I just don't recognize the number, I'm shutting it off.
Yep. No, actually that's true. Don't pick up unless you really got nothing to do.
Yeah.
You want to do this kind of nonsense.
You're wearing a spacesuit in the middle of a gym. Honestly.
And you feel like this is an opportunity. Otherwise, don't, man. Safety starts with you. Like the South African driver told me. Safety starts with you.
Because when I saw the screenshot that you took, right, and I really could not tell if this was part of a comedy show or something that you were doing, because both of you were dressed in like quite ridiculous outfits.
My reaction was natural, bro. I was like, what the fuck? This guy really has the name Michael John? Huh?
On his side, he's probably like, what the fuck is this guy wearing? And why is he like walking and not moving?
Oh, man. He probably, I don't know what he thought. You're right. I've never stopped to think like maybe he thought that I'm a scammer.
I mean, ultimately, you send him a link to buy something.
So my dad put out on social media just now. My dad is like getting used to this shit, right?
Yeah.
He's got a small, very humble Instagram account.
Okay.
So I tagged him in this thing lah. It's part of the show promos, and he goes, proud of my son. He is the real scammer. And I'm like, Dad, that's not the kind of validation that I'm looking for, but okay.
But sure. he said he's proud of you. Isn't it?
Just hear the good stuff.
That's the thing that will stay with you for life, right? Yeah. Regardless of whether what you're wearing or
forget the before and after.
But I mean, watch out for scams. Don't let your elderly fall for any of these scams. But speaking of which, we also have this segment. That is very important. That is a chance for you to also recommend something for people to check out. It's called a One Shiok Thing.
Yes.
And I can go first so that you have a chance.
Okay. Yes.
Gather yours as well. My One Shiok Thing this round is actually a pretty interesting video that is on CNA Insider. I think they have this series called Food Feuds or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where they basically look at in Singapore how we have sometimes like katong laksa, for example. It's like 5 or 6 different places that claim to be the original Katong Laksa, right?
Right.
So they have been going into the middle of these food fields and trying to figure out who is the originator of a certain type of food. So the one that I watched and I thought was quite interesting was the banana pie feud between Donna Manis and Auntie Peng. So banana pies in the Katong Shopping Centre.
Okay.
I think in the basement of Katong Shopping Centre, there are two bakeries. They are right next to each other. They're selling the exact same product, banana pies.
Okay.
And the whole thing is quite interesting. But actually, it was Donna Manis was the originator.
Okay.
And then later, when one of the partners passed away, his daughter took over the business. But the other partner left the business and then ended up setting up shop right next door to each other. So literally like neighbors selling the same product, slightly different prices. So in some ways, there's a bit of a family feud thing going on as well, which I think that's why it's a very like Singaporean thing to hear about how food is such a big part of their family history, but also now the cause of a breakup of like a friendship between two families or so.
Oh man, sounds really sad, man. What an amazing Shiok Thing you are binge watching.
I thought it was very well done because they actually like did some investigation into the background, but they also got the third generation, like the daughters to come and talk about how they feel about this family feud going on.
Man,
it's quite sad So it's not just about who owns the original recipe, because I think we see a lot of people. In India, people are fighting over who created the butter chicken recipe and all, right?
Yeah.
Singapore, Katong Laksa, for example, is a big thing. But this one is more almost like family. You see the family dynamics and how they fight. So it's quite a bit deeper.
It's like soap opera
a bit,
mixed with dessert.
Yeah. But I also never had these banana pies before. And it's quite interesting. Have you had them at Katong Shopping Centre?
Banana pies? I don't think so,
Yeah. It's just like they really cut up chunks of bananas.
Yeah.
And no sugar, nothing. And then they just sprinkle like almonds and then create a pie out of it.
I don't think I've seen that.
Katong Shopping Centre in the East. You can check it out.
Okay. I will.
That's my one Shiok thing.
Well, I will share this one Shiok thing. It is this thing called the Race Against Cancer. So the Singapore Cancer Society, they kind of do this run every year. And I have been involved as a bit of a contributor, a bit of an ambassador for a while now. What I am hoping to share with people is that if you are someone who does cardio or you walk or you like to run, but you do it aimlessly in that there's no rewards other than, your health. Actually, they have come up with this virtual run where you can join to complete 21 click or 42 click. And you don't have to do it at one go. You can kind of do it over a period of time. And it will be clocked in via your Strava app. So you can register at raceagainstcancer.org.
.sg.
.sg, and then you can do it either as an individual or you can do it as a team.
Got it.
Or you can do it as a team leader of a new team. So there's a few options there. But the whole idea is that on your own time, at your own time, you go and jog a little bit or walk a little bit. You complete the distance, and then there's a certain contribution based on your walking or your running that goes towards the Cancer Society.
Is there a significance of it being a run? There's running.
I think
help you avoid cancer.
Every year, what they do is that they have the the live run, which features either supporters or survivors coming together. And then there's a GOH that comes and flags it off. Last year, I believe it was President Tharman. This year, the run is this Sunday.
Yes.
29th of September. And guess who's the GOH?
I'm seeing it. The man who's trying to move a lot of people across Singapore as well.
Minister of Transport will be there as well. So go and show your support. If you're going for the run, you want to sign up, you're going to see him and say, hey, sir, don't worry, it's okay. We got you.
I do hope everything with the trains and all that, sufficiently recovered to the point where
hopefully I hope he can still make it. But yeah, man, that's my one Shiok thing.
Are you running physically?
I've been supporting the virtual run because I'm not available this Sunday. I was there with them last year for the flag off.
Oh, I see.
Where we had a chance to actually interact with the president last year to kind of talk a little bit about it. So this year, unfortunately, due to a clash in schedule, I can't. But I've been telling people about the virtual run because then you can do it in your own time.
Yeah, and the fundraising, I think the target is 1.3 million. And they have about 888,000 raised so far.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that update.
Yeah, well, not bad, man.
Yeah, good, man. So cool. Go and show your support. If you go there, you likely will see, like I said, some survivors who come and share some messages of hope.
Yeah.
Also, maybe to show their support for those who are facing any kind of treatment right now, or to express their gratitude towards the people who have supported them.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's live performances at the launch the day before.
Okay.
So there's if you go to the website, you'll be able to see a little bit of that. I've been a part of it a couple of times and it's always been positive vibes.
Oh, that's good. Because I was asking, so I understand, now it's like the physical run will have like cancer survivors and all coming and showing that, it's something you can overcome, and then now you can have like a normal life, and
you can have a normal life,
and go for runs and all that. So there's a significance to it. Wow,
it's a good thing, man. Yeah,
cool. So again, your show coming up October 23rd to
27th at the Wild Rice Theatre at Funan. It's a show called "Can I Make You a Suit, Mate?"
And tickets
are on Ticketmaster.
Yeah,
there's a few of the nights that are selling very fast. We are about a month away, and I think it's an exciting time, man. Please come and do join us. You'll see some jokes, some improvisation, some very interesting stories, and some secrets of the tailoring trade you might not know. You will learn it all, and the real exciting thing is that someone might get a tailor-made suit measured for them.
Oh,
on site.
On site. Wow, that's like improv, like really improv to the max.
Might. So we because it's so improvised. I always don't promise too much, but the attempt will be.
Oh, nice.
There.
Wow.
Maybe Maybe come and watch the show to find out.
Interactive theatre.
Yes.
Finest. But cool. And if people also want to find about you and your fight against scammers, they can look for you on
all my social media accounts at Rishi Budhrani on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook even. So it's RISHIBUDHRANI. Check it out.
Cool, man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rishi. And hope you enjoyed listening to this, and we'll see you all soon.